Please leave your message. You have reached the voicemail box of
Hello?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on?
You're finally on my show.
I'm on the air. I'm live.
You're live on the fucking air, man.
I'm in a Zoom meeting for work right now. My microphone's muted.
Oh shit, are you sure it is?
I'm double. Oh no. Oh no. I gotta go.
Please leave your message for
Hey, this is Reese. Hi, you've reached Nathan. Hello?
Hey, so yeah, I'll just have to take my chances with you.
Yeah, well, I got fired, so we're free to talk.
That's good. You'll get paid more now.
Yeah.
I've never made more money in my entire life than right now.
But see, this pandemic could be a good thing. You apply for a small business loan, Country Death LLC.
Yeah, I did, but they made me immediately give it to the Lakers, Shake Shack, and I just heard about the Lakers thing, like today.
Yeah, it's really funny. They're the only NBA team that applied for one,
That's
and they were approved
what?
immediately.
That's amazing. The
Really
audacity.
Yeah, it's also like kind of silly that the amount of money they got was like, I don't know, like 1/20th of what LeBron James's salary is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if anything, like, and that's like even less than what the like owners of the team make.
Right. Yeah. Like,
So I mean,
at that point, it's just insane because it's such a like there's no way it's going to change their reality at all. It's like a matter of principle or something, but the principle is so corrupt that it's amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's like a that's like a generational changing amount of money to a family.
Right. And still, like to just be like, look, whatever you can give me, I deserve it.
Yeah.
Again, it's just principle. I don't need it, but I think I should have it. It's kind of like in No Country for Old Men, how at the end Anton Sugar goes and kills what's her name doing the Southern accent, and
Yeah.
and just because he told her husband that he was going to,
Yeah. That's
you know,
what
she was
I
completely
mean.
innocent. It's a matter of principle.
Maybe we're pointing the finger the wrong. Maybe they did this to point out like the lack of oversight.
Yeah, well, that's like the
in these
same
homes.
argument that like people will make about like Roger Stone.
Yeah.
You know, be like he's just pointing out all the flaws in democracy. Like that's like
Yeah.
it's like burning down a building to point out that like it was structurally unsound.
It was flammable.
Yeah.
I know we joke, but I oftentimes have myself thinking that way without realizing like the slippery slope that I'm frequently tumbling down towards just being like
Sure.
parroting like right wing talking points.
Oh yeah, no, it's so easy to because you're just looking for any sort of escape, and nihilism. It's kind of there, and it's like it is probably an actual rational view of how chaotic everything is anyway. So it's like it's really hard to remember that like it's not all just, you know, sarcastic, or that it's like from a place of privilege that we can view the world that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's you know, you gotta frequently remind yourself that not you specifically, but like
no, actually me. You're actually
but yeah, we've been talking behind closed doors that we need to tell you that, you know, your ability to be this nihilistic is because of the lack of consequences you face.
Yeah.
In day-to-day life.
But then it always goes the other way too, where like I've been told that like I don't even remember what the very academic argument that was happening was, but it was just like a group of people talking about how like an inevitable civil war, start preparing for war, and how I was just like, you know, I just kind of would rather just die if it's going to turn into civil war, because like no one I know is going to be able to survive it. Like I don't want to thrive in that kind of world. And they told me that was like from a place of privilege. And I was like, no, I think you're missing the point a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like just hoping for death in a situation like that is not really exercising any sort of privilege.
No, that would be like saying that like the monks who set themselves on fire during the Vietnam War were that was kind of a privileged
Yeah. Unless you're like saying like, well, like I'm devout. I'm going to heaven when I die, so I might as well just die. And then the other person was like, well, I'm actually going to hell when I die, so you're really exercising your heaven privilege.
Yeah, that's true. And I have felt that way having a Christian family before. Like I've sorry. Oh, it's all good. I thought you were asking me something.
No.
When
somebody else I was talking to.
When I found out like a long time ago that my mom was donating to some like pro-life kind of thing, then I was like making the philosophical argument that like abortion was good because it was sending these fetuses straight to heaven without the burden of life, you know, because that actually lines up with her, you know, the dogma that she believes in, her metaphysical viewpoints.
But do fetuses have original sin, or do you have to be born to get original sin?
I mean, I think the whole pro-life stance would have to argue that they are sinners if they're formed, because they're born at the moment of conception, sort of, right? Or they're alive, so they are evil as well at the point of conception.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's you just can't win these arguments.
No, that's why I don't have them anymore. That was like 20 something year old me arguing, who still felt the need to try to talk my mom out of, yeah, conviction, and I guess a lot of energy.
How are you doing?
Oh man, Doing good. Doing pretty good. I've just been like writing in the mornings, and then honestly spend the rest of the day like cooking here and there, cleaning here and there, and like watching shit. Just watching stuff. I'm like,
anything good?
I realized that I hadn't seen all of Review with Andy Daly, and so I picked back up where I left off with that, and it's been super pleasurable. It's so fucking funny.
That's great. I've only seen a few episodes. I'm a big fan of the Australian one.
Okay, yeah. I've heard. I didn't realize, somebody was just telling me the other day that it was based on another one, but I'm just a huge Andy Daly fan, and and this one, it's just so dark and painful and great.
Yeah, they have similar starting points, but from what I've seen, the American one goes its own ways and is like its own separate thing. So it's like,
yeah,
it's not like that early American Office where they were just like reshooting the scripts.
Yeah, I saw.
And just like
I remember
finding
that,
and replacing Laurie for Truck.
Yeah. I remember one of the first episodes of The Office. It written. It said it was written by B.J. Novak, and it was literally like word for word the same script as one of the English episodes. And I was like,
I gotta start doing that.
Yeah, you just got to go to Harvard first.
Yeah, I get up early. I do some writing. I search Goodfellas, and I copy and paste it into a new document.
And lo and behold, then you have The Irishman.
Did you like The Irishman?
I thought it was like too long, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it, and I was very forgiving of it because I wanted to like it. So like, there was a bunch of stuff that obviously it really took me out of it. The aging process.
Oh
like,
yeah.
It just does. It just came off as ridiculous. The idea that like when he was supposedly beating up that shop clerk, that he was supposed to be like 25 years old was insane.
And he has like John McCain arms while he's doing it.
Yeah, it just feels like it was painful that like such a great director and such great actors like could be blinded by their own hubris so much to just think like so much of what makes a film good is shooting a bunch of shit, realizing like a bunch of it sucks, and so just cutting it out. Like,
yeah.
Or why didn't they could have even done like it. Honestly, he's old enough that they could have done like some fucking Godfather 2 shit and just cast somebody else to play him young. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's so many good actors. Like, what's that guy's name who plays his like Jimmy Hoffa's son? I think.
Oh yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Jesse Plemons, is that his name?
Yes. Yeah, that's his
name. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
And he's only done he has like 4 lines in that whole movie.
Did you ever? For the longest time, just like realized that I had a realization that I just kind of believed and assumed that dude was Matt Damon's younger brother.
You know what's funny is I was able to just look at it like, I think it makes me happy to see him in things now because I'm like, oh, it's basically like my friend Jim is a world famous actor.
Yeah, that dude, he put on tons of weight. I don't know if it was for Fargo or just a person being a person. But it like threw me off then because like he was way bigger in Fargo than he was as whatever the Breaking Bad character name was. And then, so then when he came back and it was a for that fucking El Camino movie, he was like way bigger again. And it just like, it created a more relaxed kind of character. Like,
I think he put on weight for Fargo and then had the Black Mirror thing where he played like a computer nerd.
Oh yeah, that's
and so just
right.
Like maintain that weight.
Like,
and then I feel like the the longer you keep that body shape, the harder it is to get rid of it.
Of course.
Because he keeps getting roles.
Yeah, and he's just good.
He's got to.
It's like,
he's got to do a
fuck it.
Kumail
Who cares?
and get cast as a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't seem like the type who's gonna like immediately go the cash grab action roles. But who knows?
It is, I guess, like if you do gain weight for a role, it's got to be so much less stressful knowing that like somewhere down the line, because you're a good actor, someone is going to say like, "We love you for this role. We'll give you like $1 million up front to just hire a personal trainer and work out."
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Isn't it insane? Like I think you like realized when you watch the I rewatched Endgame recently, and Thor is like gets big in it, gets like super big, and it's like clearly like prosthetics or whatever, and probably a mixture of CGI as well. And I just like it's just the realization that it's like Hulk is entirely a CGI dude. Like the idea of spending like 6 months eating only like almonds and a fish, and then like working out like literally 6 hours a day and just being miserable. It's like you could just do like there's literally magic happening in every shot of that movie. Like none of the backgrounds are real, but I have to have like abs. Like it doesn't make any sense. And then they just didn't address it. Like Thor was just a big dude out of shape, and you're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like if you're super, you're super. Like why would you have to have muscles? Like
I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard that like everybody's really hard on him for like being kind of out of shape, and it's still like it doesn't. He has like a magic hammer.
Yeah. What's the name of the director who did Parasite?
Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, he has been offered Marvel movies, and he says no. And the reasoning he gave, again, is like translated, so who knows? But the reasoning he gave was that being around people in really tight-fitting clothing makes him uncomfortable, so he won't do it. He was like, maybe if we could make some like baggier suits for those people.
I can feel it. I understand that.
Yeah, it'd be
all
weird.
Of the like heroes in his movies usually wear like pretty loose-fitting clothing.
Yeah, even just going to the gym like is an existential crisis, because you either feel like a predator involuntarily staring, or you feel or you just feel just so inadequate. Just
swing kettlebells with your eyes closed.
Yeah, basically it's the only way. Have you been watching the basketball doc that everybody's talking about?
I couldn't get into it.
How have you been watching it? I'm trying to figure out a way to download it or something. Did you just torrent it, or?
It's on ESPN 3. I think that's the one
right.
I think it's on the one you can get for like free as long as you have a cable provider.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I forgot you watched all kinds of basketball, so you probably already have ESPN.
I just like was watching the first episode, and I'm just like, I hate documentaries where it's like hyperbole.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, with Michael Jordan, it's like earned, but also like I already know he's like the best basketball player ever. I don't need to have like 10 hours explaining it.
Yeah.
And personally, it's just like knowing that they win the championship at the end already.
Yeah.
And just not really liking the Bulls to begin with.
Right.
I'm just kind of like I liked a team that would frequently lose to the Bulls in playoffs.
Me too.
I kind of don't give a shit about.
I literally grew up with just the Cavs getting like close to the finals, and insane. Like he would make like nearly half court shots like at the buzzer over Craig Elo.
Yeah.
And then the game was over and we were done again, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like wishing the man would be like injured like being excited when he retired.
Yeah, it's like, here, hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
We are off the record at 1:28 p.m. All right, we're good. You hear that?
Yeah,
You get the
I heard
curtain,
you're
a
off
little
the
peek
record.
behind the curtain.
That's right. That's some kind of important deposition that's happening, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and I'm fucking talking to you about Bong Joon-ho being uncomfortable around. They have no idea the operation I'm pulling.
No idea. I've been hearing so many being unemployed, but she's working from home. I've been witness to so many Zoom meetings. I just wrote a sketch about what Zoom meetings look like what their Zoom meetings look like to me. And it's just, it's just like, it feels, I mean, anytime you see anybody do their job, like, I think it's just the level of importance that people bring to their job and like seriousness, which is what you have to do. But from the outside, it looks insane.
Yeah, it is insane, especially because I have this like work voice that I affect.
Oh yeah,
that like just sounds so uncomfortable. It's like weirdly too deep, and then like too, like, I feel like I make my voice deeper, but I'm also like stammering anytime I have to say anything to show that I'm like coming from a place. Just these fucking depositions are like so confrontational.
I understand. They're like purposefully slow, careful kind of voice.
I had a guy,
like I'm trying to choose. I'll do that sometimes where I'm like not trying to come off as abrasive. So I'll act as if I'm like choosing my word, even though I already know what word I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're a dipshit. Yeah, yesterday, 2 days ago. So I'm like supposed to be keeping track of how long these things run, because they have like there's a limit on how long you can question somebody in like federal courts or whatever, and it's 7 hours.
Whoa.
And which sounds long, but it's really, I don't know. It's just so funny because you'll see, like, with the Roger Stone stuff, his attorney was like, my client was interrogated by lawyers for 3 hours. And it's like, dude, I've sat through fucking depositions where they get like the rules changed and they go through it for like 14 hours.
Yeah.
And
totally.
like nobody's really like walking away being like, oh, what a like torture session. It's just like people asking you questions.
Right. And in like police stations, they'll take like a 17-year-old drug dealer and like hook electrodes up to them with a gun in their mouth and be like, and talk to them for like 15 hours. Like,
for like selling candy on the subway train
just for
during
existing.
Quarantine.
Just for existing.
But yeah, I had a guy who I told him, I unmuted my mic to be like, there's like 5 minutes until we hit 7 hours. And I thought I was being like pretty cordial about it. And then all of a sudden he like starts going on this like, not rant, but like telling me like, well, I was like, somebody else was questioning for 5 hours and I was supposed to have more time. So you can tell me when it's 7 hours and you can like decide to turn off the recording and stuff. And like, he's going on this rant the whole time. I'm like, dude, none of that is like anything I'm capable of doing.
Right.
Like, I'm literally just telling you the time. Like, you all of you have to decide when this is over. Yeah.
Like you become the,
it's acting like I was the judge or something.
Yeah, exactly. That happens in any kind of customer service job. Is just always that it just turns into like every single existential battle that somebody's having is taken out on the person in front of like the register. I
actually have a really great story about this, and then I think I have to go.
Okay.
But when I used to work in a store, I worked the register at a store that sold It was in Bloomington, Indiana, and it was called Tracks. And it sells. It originally sold records and CDs and all kinds of like music stuff. As by the time I got there in like 2010, 2011, it had become like 70% a school spirit clothing store.
Yeah.
And like 30% music and used DVDs and stuff. And they had changed it because the Dave and Barry's next door, or Steve and Barry's next door, went out of business because the owners were embezzling money.
Ah, yeah.
And like the manager of that store just walked away with all of the clothes and was like, went to the store next door and was like, hey, what do you say we like split this business? And it worked out very well for them, but we'd always get like weird people who hadn't been in there for like 15 years, and they'd walk in and be like, oh, this place changed, and like they'd be like asking me, who had been working there for like 4 months, like, why'd you guys stop selling music? And our answer was always like, well, when was the last time you were in here? And they would be like, 10 years ago. And we'd be like, well, yeah, that's why we can't really sell music.
Yeah, because the whole industry has collapsed.
Yeah, the whole thing where you like have to keep purchasing the item that we're selling if you want us to keep selling it.
My favorite is people saying, referring to you as if you are the business.
Yeah,
like they say like
how I was treated.
You didn't do that right, and you're like, wait, when? Like, like last week, and I was like, I wasn't working here then. What do you? Who? Me? You mean me?
Yeah, it was like every day of my life. But one time we had this guy came in and he's looking at used DVDs, and he comes to the counter with 3 DVDs, and we had this super complicated filing system where the DVDs themselves were put in a storage area, and it was always all fucked up because the boss kept rearranging them all the time.
Yeah.
Here, hold on 1 second. I have to
No problem.
go back to work for just a minute. All right. Stand by. We are back on the record at 1:36 p.m. Love that shit.
So much power.
Yeah. I'm the beginning and the end. I am truly the alpha and the omega of this.
Judge Dredd over here.
Yeah, so he comes with 3 DVDs. He brings the cases up. I open the cases. They're all empty, of course. So I'm like, I'll go find these.
Yep.
I went to get the first one, which I think was like a volume, like 1 disc of a 4-disc set of season 2 of Family Guy.
Sure. All right.
So I go back in the storage area. He's like, I love this show. But imagine who you're thinking of and then make them about 6'7".
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Towering
so
over
this
me.
guy's telling me how he's excited to watch this show. It's going to be great. Loves the show. He's been looking for this all over the place. Kind of confusing stuff, but not to disparage him, but I don't think he was all there. So I go to find the DVD, can't find it. I go up and I'm like, I'm really sorry, this one's not back there. It might be in our warehouse. I just don't know where it is. I go to find the second one, which is like some fucking movie, like You, Me, and Dupree or something.
Mm-hmm.
I go look for the DVD, not there. I come back. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Don't usually have 2 of these missing, like back to back, but I can't find it. I'm really sorry. And he's like, all right, well, I guess as long as you can find this one, this is my favorite movie ever. Can't wait to watch this. It's Jackass 2. I go back to the little filing system. Can't find it. I come back and say, man, I am so sorry. It's not there. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
He puts his hand on the counter. He leans into me and he says, I will fucking murder you.
Oh my god.
And my boss was in the back, and I was just like, "Hey, Andy, can you come help me with something?" And my boss comes up there, and I'm like, I'm having some trouble finding these DVDs. I think this guy really wants these DVDs. And my boss was like super hard of hearing, such a like insanely neurotic person. He's the reason why the filing system was all fucked up, because it was like you open a DVD, there'd be a number inside, you'd match that number to a DVD in like a plastic sleeve that had that same number. But what he would do is like he'd get really frustrated at the fact that we weren't selling any used DVDs. This is like when Netflix and stuff really popular. So he would go in every like week and just grab a huge stack of DVDs from the filing system and just take them out, and then like bring in other ones from the warehouse and put them in without checking to make sure like the actual DVD cases were in the store. It's so convoluted, and like he couldn't understand why it didn't work.
Yeah, and he didn't understand that like ironically kind of that it was that system entirely that made Netflix so popular.
Exactly.
So easy.
Yeah. And so he looks at the 3 DVDs. He sees I've like can't find them, and I said, so he looks for himself, and he always does it so fucking fast. Even though another problem with the system was like you could have a number in the system that was like 125, and then right next to it would be like 1,253 because somebody just read the numbers and like stuck it in the wrong spot.
Yeah, of course. Probably happened constantly.
The whole system is fucked up. He spends like 15 seconds looking for all 3 DVDs, and he comes back and he's just like, "I can't help you," and just walks to the back of the store again.
Oh no.
And this guy just like slowly walks out of the store and giving me a death stare.
Oh.
And for like the next 3 days, I had to have coworkers go look outside before I left the store to make sure this guy wasn't there.
Oh.
He never came back.
That is actually at the factory I used to work at, we had a coworker who would he just wouldn't talk to me. He would just stare. He would like, I don't know, he's probably, I don't know, maybe just on the spectrum or something, like totally fine. Who knows? But like, he just kind of dressed like somebody who still like listens to like Limp Bizkit and didn't know that like no one else listened to Limp Bizkit anymore.
Yeah.
And I would just like be like, he was fairly new, and I'd just be like, "All right, hey man, have a good one," or something like that, or "Hey dude," and he would just like look at me until I would like be gone, but he wouldn't say anything. And I'd heard him talk before. And he always had bags under his eyes. And one time I came up to the break room where everyone would either be eating lunch or staring at their phone. There was no in between. It was one of those two things. Yeah. And he was staring at a white wall. Just staring at a white wall.
Oh my God.
And I was just like sure that like, oh, this is the mass shooter of the place. Like this is what's gonna happen, Anyway.
Yeah. You don't want to stereotype people in that way, but it's also like you got to be aware of potential warning signs.
Yeah, well, it feels like it just happened. It was happening all the time then. Is COVID taking out the mass shooters? I feel like I haven't heard about one. Well, there was that one. There was one
there
in forget where that was. Canada.
Oh yeah,
there's one in Canada.
Yeah. See, these are the kinds of things that people aren't keeping in their minds when they want to reopen America.
Yeah, it's true.
Is like the actual horrors of everyday American life that we have. I mean, yeah, going back to where we started, it's an extremely just, there's no other word to describe it than luck to be in a position as privileged as I am to say, like, I'm working 5 days a week.
Yeah.
In the middle of this thing.
Yeah. And you control the record. You literally get to decide where the record begins and where the record ends. The record of all things.
I have all the power in my little quarantine right now.
You are the man.
And I think I just don't want to surrender that.
No, well, I can understand after having such a frustrating filing system that you would grow to want to be in charge of the record.
That was where I first became a fascist.
Hey, everything might fall apart, but the trains are gonna run on time.
Yeah.
God damn
The
it.
DVDs will be found. Jackass 2 will be there will be a Jackass 2 in every home.
Yeah,
Under my regime.
I was never a big fan of Family Guy, but Jackass 2, I feel that guy. I might have murdered you for Jackass 2.
All right, I gotta drop off this, but
all right, right on, man.
I will.
Thanks for
we are
work with this phone call.
Hey, here's one for you.
Okay.
We are off the record at 1:44 p.m.
I love it. Thank you, timekeeper. All right, thanks everybody.